presentation of the Oregon Sports Network.
And Oregon is going to play in the national championship game.
This is Duck Insider.
These are good problems to have, right? So much success that you have more than one place to be.
5-3, touchdown, Oregon.
Off a dribble, launches, and hits the three. Oregon leads.
What a great opportunity it is to be able to play at University of Oregon.
I'm just incredibly proud to be a part of something like this.
She wants another three. Oh, three in a row.
Oregon is headed to the Super Regional. Big Ten champions, your Oregon Ducks.
We are so privileged and so fortunate. We get to see all these young people. We get to see this incredible growth, which is what college is all about.
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Now let's go live to the Country Financial Studio to talk Oregon Duck Athletics.
It's doubleheader day for Oregon athletics, Oregon basketball. It's going to be a full day of hoops here on the Oregon Sports Network. We're started off with Duck Insider. We'll preview the two games that are going on later today because right after we get off the air, Chris Clayton is taking air. 2:30 pregame show from Michigan State, East Lansing, where the Ducks are going up against the Spartans. Tip at 3 o'clock for the women's basketball game. A tough opponent in Michigan State in front of Oregon on the women's basketball side of things. We'll give a full preview of that Big Ten clash coming up later today. And then right after the women are finished, the men's start. Joey Mack down in California, in Los Angeles, taking air with a 7 o'clock pregame show, 7:30 tip-off as Oregon tries to even the season series against the Bruins as they reach the halfway point in Big Ten play. It's a huge day going on for Oregon hoops around the athletic department on the road. Two big matchups, two potential quad one victories in store if both the men and the women can get it done throughout the course of the day. But it's no easy feat. These are difficult opponents on both sides of things. Michigan State, they have not lost a game at home all year. They're top 16 in the country. They only have 3 losses on the season. This is a team that does not lose away from, or rather at the Breslin Center. Oregon is trying to go into the Breslin Center and take a victory away from Michigan State. Oregon's a team that's familiar with defending home court. The Ducks 13-1 at Matthew Knight Arena. It is hard to win on the road in conference play. You heard Kelly Graves in his conversation with Chris Clayton yesterday say that if Oregon can split road trips to this point, that would be a plus for the Ducks as they move forward towards the back end of Big Ten play. The road trips for Oregon women's basketball on the docket. Well, this road trip at Michigan, where the Ducks play Michigan State today, and then Michigan on Sunday. They also go on the road later in the season to play Minnesota and Nebraska, two quality teams inside the top 35 in the net that Oregon will have to go on the road to play later in the season. These are difficult opponents. It's difficult matchups going on the road, winning in Big Ten play. But Oregon has been up to the challenge. The Ducks have won 6 of their last 7 and have won back-to-back games against top 40 teams in the net. It is going to be a battle tonight at the Breslin Center against a ranked Michigan State team. You figure if Oregon is able to take care of business, it might not be long before Oregon sees a ranking back in front of their names. Probably by the end of the week if Oregon can take care of both Michigan and Michigan State. Starting with Michigan State, Kelly Graves a few days ago, he spoke with the media. He previewed this matchup. You heard him on the show yesterday talking with Chris Clayton. Now the general media. Where is Oregon at? What is Oregon looking forward to doing as they go on the road against these Michigan schools? KG, he spoke with the media a few days ago. Let's get to the conversation with Coach.
You guys have been good at turning teams over. The team you're about to play next is really good at it too. Yeah. How much of that has been kind of a focus this week?
Will be a good focus, no doubt. We turned it over enough in practice today to do this for the weekend, so hopefully we'll be a little bit better at it. Turnover's been one of our strengths this year. We haven't turned it over a ton. Ohio, when we played at Ohio State, they were one of the top teams in the country in terms of turning people over. We handled it well there. 13 total turnovers, I think. 7 in one quarter, unfortunately, and that was the quarter that did us in. But, I think taking care of the ball is a premium there because they're 5th in the country in fast break points. and they feed off turnovers, and that amps them up offensively.
Those are kind of like you guys. They play a lot of bodies. I think they have 10 players over 10 minutes a game. What's kind of the challenge in playing a team that can rotate that many bodies?
Well, it negates one of our strengths, you know. Yeah, they have that same strength. I think it's going to be a great matchup against Michigan State because where they're really good, we're actually really good. And so I think that's a good matchup for us. But they're a very, very good team, and they play both ends of the floor. They play fast, so we got our work cut out for us. But I think the preparation's been good so far.
Today's practice aside, has your tenacity defensively helped you guys on the offensive end, just going against that pressure day to day?
Well, I think we saw that against Indiana, where the defensive pressure finally got to them, and we were able to get out in that fourth quarter and get easy baskets. You know, we struggle when it's a half-court game. We just, for whatever reason, we don't particularly shoot it well from range, and our inside comes and goes. So, when we're at our best is when we can get out and go in transition. So we've got to create some turnovers of our own and get out and go.
Have you ever been to either of these Michigan gyms?
I've never been to Michigan, so I'm really looking forward to that. I gave the kids a quiz today on famous athletes. I told them if they could answer this question that we wouldn't have practice today because I knew they weren't going to get it. So, who's a great basketball player, one of the top 50 all-time from Detroit. He played in the old ABA and the NBA, and he played with Dr. J to start his career. He also played with Michael. They didn't know it. Do you guys know it? You're kidding me. George Gervin, man, the Iceman. So, a little trivia that they need to know. But yes, Michigan State, I've been to. We actually lost there a few years ago. One of our Elite Eight teams, when Sabrina was here, we went back and played Michigan State. I think we got them pretty good here at home. And then I think we've played them twice in the PK. PK 80 we played here, and then the PK 85 we played up in Portland. Got them both those times. But they got us back there, and we had a pretty good team. So,
what kind of the job your staff's done, helping you guys defensively? If you could speak a little more to the way kind of whether it's principles Jairus has brought, Jody preparing scouts, the way those things get melded, how they work together and fit together to create the success you've had.
Yeah, I think we've kind of streamlined the way we do things. We kind of in the Dan Lanning vein, right? We have an offensive coordinator. Jody really does a lot of the offense. Jairus has done a great job with the defense, our defensive coordinator. Trey Simmons and Audie, they kind of share the what we would call special teams, which are rebounding, transition. We've been very good in those areas at times. Certainly in transition, rebounding comes and goes. So I think there's a division of labor that we haven't quite had in a while, and I think it's really working. And then we've streamlined how we scout. So it's either Jody or Lisa O'Meara are the two that handle all the scouts. We're playing 2 games a week. One takes one game, the other takes the other game. In the past, we've kind of shared, all the assistant coaches kind of shared and took a scout. And I think it's better this way. That's an area they can just really focus on, and then Jairus and Trey can really focus on recruiting.
Obviously, the results speak for themselves, but do you see players just, if things are being delivered by one voice on one subject, you see players maybe have an easier time kind of understanding what you're trying to get across?
No question. Yes, the simpler it is for them, the better. So they know scout those 2 players. They know defense. They have a question with defense, then they go to Jairus or myself. I mean, I'm doing something, not just the pretty face. Thank God. But yeah, I think it gives everybody a sense of ownership on the staff, and I think that's worked for us in the past, and it's even better this year.
Any concerns or worries about the low scoring recently in these last 2 games?
The last few games, we've been here the whole season. We've struggled to score all season long. It's just not our best thing. Yeah, that's why we've had to do it with defense. And those games where we really struggle, especially like last game, I think we had 30 points through 3 quarters, something like that. The defense has kept us in the game. That's where we've hung our hat this year. But, we're not a deficient offensive team. I think when you look at the efficiency ratings, we're still relatively good, just not to the standard we've set here. We've always been an offensive program, and now we're less offensive and more offensive. Can I say that? All right. Actually, I was talking to somebody the other day, and I likened us to that kitchen drawer that we all have, right? It has everything. It has ketchup packets. It's got Scotch tape. It's got screwdriver. It's got everything you need. That's kind of what we have right now. We go to that drawer and you never know one night who it's going to be. The other night it was a Heese stepped up. You just grab something from the drawer and they make it work. So that's kind of how we've been taking the whole year, to be honest with you.
I'm curious, following up on that, you feel like your feel for whose night it is has gotten better as the season's gone on? I'm curious just because it does feel like we've seen maybe more recently that be effective with somebody like a Heese coming in who hasn't played a lot. What's your feel for kind of getting all these pieces? Because there's a lot of names and players.
Yeah, we have a lot of moving parts, and it's been different people on different nights. Yeah, like a Heese the other night, her specifically, we just needed a physical presence, and I didn't feel like we were getting that. Well, she's physical. She's still trying to learn what we're doing and play at the pace that we need to play. But boy, she went in and did the job. It's exactly what we needed, and she got us buckets around the hoop, which we weren't getting anywhere else. So, some nights it's Philly, and then, Philly came in late in the fourth quarter, then the second half of the fourth, and picked up right where Heese had left off. So it kind of maybe motivated her to, hey, I can do this, and we need that from you. So, yeah, it's nice to have different weapons that you can go to, in battle. I mean, look at Anchorman, right? And they had that battle among all the TV stations, and they all had their different weapons. That's what we can go to. I'm throwing some real stuff out there today. Let's go. Let's keep it going, man.
And speaking of that too, that lineup around it, he's had Ari, who's kind of in the same boat and not getting consistent minutes, and Sophia's been in and out of the lineup. What specifically about that group worked in that Indiana game and kind of propelled you guys forward?
Yeah, it just happened to work. It can be different every game. I wish it was consistent, but the reality is we have, really a 12-player rotation that we've got 7 of those are guards for 3 spots. So one's kind of left out. 5 of those are for the 2 post spots. One of those is left out. And now to match up with other teams, we've had to go with Sophia Bell at the 4 sometimes. So we've gone small. We haven't really had a chance to work on it offensively, and I think that's part of the reason, we may be a little challenged. We've been working on that the last couple of weeks because we know that we kind of need that. It's hard for Philly to have to chase a guard out there. He just, negates who she is. What was the question?
That group kind of work together.
Oh, that particular group? Yeah, some nights Ari's just on. She's got great anticipation. She's got some length. And, so when her number's called, it's, she's come in and done well. And then there are other times, and, maybe it doesn't work. But that's a great thing about having, lots of different pieces to be able to play.
And you talk about Sophia playing the 4, and obviously she was hurt last year, got hurt a little bit this year. How's she kind of grown, with her role kind of changing throughout the season?
Yeah, she's really grown, and we've gotten better because of it. It's not a coincidence that we've won 6 of 7, and she's been a big part. She's playing more in those 7 games. Her efficiency rating is really, really good. Her plus minus is really, really good, best on the team, I think. So, but unfortunately, if you play her at the 4, then you've got some really good players. Amina's not getting as much time. Sarah Rambis, Heese, even Philly, you're taking that away.
Kind of heading into this closing section of the regular season, is this a good test for you guys to have right now to kind of remind you guys what level you need to be playing
at? Yeah, that's a great question. Yeah, it gets real now. Both teams in Michigan. It's going to be a tough road trip. And then, we finally get to come home, but then you're coming home for 2 of the top 10 ranked teams in the country, including the number 1 team. So this is going to be a tough stretch right here. We're going to test who we are. But, through the first half, I feel real good where we're at. I really do. We've had a nice league season so far, but really the meat is coming up. So I think the next 3 weeks are going to really tell us what our maybe NCAA future might be, or where we're going to finish in the Big Ten, et cetera. It's coming up.
That's Kelly Graves previewing this stretch run to the season, brought to you by the Willamette Valley Cancer Institute and Research Center. Better cancer care close to home. It's not a Kelly Graves media availability if you don't get a George Gervin, Sauce Packets, Anchorman reference. KG, I do have a little bit of a gripe to pick with how you phrased the trivia, because George Gervin, you know him from being a San Antonio Spur, but the correlations were from his ABA days, back with Dr. J, and then from his Bulls days. You missed the meat of his career. I thought it was a leading trivia question. I didn't get it right. Maybe I'm just mad I didn't get it right. I'm a little mad I didn't get it right. It was a good question. Good job, KG. Previewing this game against Michigan State coming up right after we get off the air. If you're live with us in the 1 o'clock hour, pregame with Chris Clayton starts at 2:30. Tip is at 3 o'clock. If you want to watch live on the TV broadcast, it will be on Big Ten Network. It's not the only game going on tonight, because Oregon men's basketball looking for vengeance, trying to redeem a loss at Matthew Knight Arena earlier in the season against UCLA. The Ducks now travel to their place. We'll break it down when we return on Duck Inside on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Hey Duck fans, at Country Financial, they make insurance easy. Whether you're shopping for home, auto, or more, their representatives will take the time to understand your specific needs and explain what options work best for you. Worry less and feel more confident knowing you're covered. Visit countryfinancial.com to get started today. Experience more with Country Financial. Auto and home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Preferred Insurance Company, and Country Casualty Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois.
Duck Insider continues after this timeout on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
August was born 3 pounds, 9.8 ounces. When I first saw him, it was a whole range of emotions. There's stuff I still want to do. Being a young dad, it's not giving up. It's shifting. I looked through his eyes. I can envision a whole future with him already. To throw the first football to him, give him ice cream for the first time. My life is now devoted to his life.
Through all of fatherhood's firsts, never stop being a dad. Visit fatherhood.gov to hear more. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
You took the first step and quit smoking, but even former smokers may still be at risk for lung cancer. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know about a new low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early. It takes only 60 seconds and could save your life. You took the first step, now take the next. Visit SaveByTheScan.org for a simple quiz to see if you're eligible and talk to your doctor about screening. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
Back here on Duck Insider, brought to you by OnPoint Community Credit Union, inside the Country Financial Studio. Ryan Milano with you instead of Joey Mack, because he is on the road with Oregon men's basketball as they prepare to face off against UCLA tonight. 7:30 tip, 7 o'clock pregame show. You can watch the TV broadcast on Fox Sports 1. On Tuesday, Coach Altman, he talked with the media breaking down where Oregon's at, state of affairs after the Ducks dropped the game against Minnesota over the weekend on the road, and recalibrating, refocusing, because it doesn't get easier when you go on the road in this conference. It is top 30 after top 40 after good team after good team throughout the course of this conference slate in Big Ten play. And Oregon's got an opponent coming up, UCLA, who they lost to earlier in the season. Oregon's looking to make it even on the season after tonight. Coach Altman, his thoughts on the game, what he spoke with the media. Let's hear it.
Thoughts on UCLA?
Man, they're playing good. They had a stretch there where they weren't playing good. but they're playing really well together. Their depth has improved. Mara's, been a presence for them. Watched the film from the first time we played them. We beat them on the boards. We beat them in a lot of areas, but they went 12 for 23 from three. And we made a lot of communication mistakes that gave them good looks. And that was the difference in the game. In a 1-2 point game, 1 possession game, they knocked down 12 of 23 threes, and that was the difference in the game.
You guys are playing better defensively at the 3-point line than you were back then?
Well, at times we do a good job. We're really inconsistent with our possessions defensively, and most of it's communication. I don't think our effort's bad. We're making mistakes that we shouldn't make in January, late January. And that's the disappointing thing. I haven't seen the progress that I expected from a group that, has won some games, but we haven't made the progress communication-wise, execution-wise on the offensive end that I think we need to make. And so, we're a little banged up, guys, this time of year, a little sore, and things aren't going quite right, so they've got to really focus in on getting things right in the practice time that we do have.
Can some of that still be chalked up to some new faces playing big roles and just getting everybody on the same page?
Well, I think so. I mean, it's always a new challenge. We're going to a lot of new venues, playing a lot of new teams. So there's a newness to it. It kind of seems like it's always the non-conference season, but going to a familiar place now. So we've got no excuses, but we're going to have to play as well as we've played all year to give ourselves an opportunity. That's for sure, because they are talented. They can talk about toughness and all the things, but they're just talented. They've got good athleticism. They got great size, experienced guards. They're just a very talented team.
TJ's a confident guy. He's had a couple of great games. What's it like coaching him?
I'm sorry?
TJ's a confident guy. He keeps telling us he's the best defender in the Big Ten. He's had a couple of really great games. What's it like coaching him?
He has played well the last 2 games. He struggled for a while there offensively, but he has played well. He graded out really high against Minnesota. Did a lot of good things. He was 5 for 6 from 2-point area, 5 for 5 from the line. Made some really good plays for his teammates. Took a couple questionable threes, but he graded out really high offensively and defensively. So he's doing some good things now. We just got to keep him going, because he did go through a period there where nothing would fall, and we try to get everybody playing at the same time. Nate and Jackson kind of carried us for a while there, and Brandon and TJ didn't play quite as well offensively, and now they're playing better, and Nate struggled a little bit offensively, so we try to hit on all cylinders one of these days.
Yeah, what are some of those things you'd like to see Nate do better to get himself back on track?
Well, he had been shooting free throws really well. He missed a couple front ends there, and missed a couple shots and just lost a little of his aggressiveness. Now, on the other hand, we missed him. I will say there were 4 or 5 opportunities we got to throw him the ball. I mean, he had a guy on his back, and we're putting the dang thing on the floor, and it should have went into him. So I was really disappointed in that. And I showed the guys in film all the times we missed him. When a guy's shooting close to 60% and he's a willing passer, our second bucket, Bam makes a nice cut. He hits him for a layup. It's not like it's the black hole and it goes to him and it's never coming out. He's making good decisions. We got to give him the ball more.
The losses that you guys have had this season, the team's been able to respond pretty well. How confident are you in responding to this one as well?
Well, we'll play hard, I think. Our guys practiced really hard yesterday. We had a little sickness and some soreness today, so we backed off a little bit. But guys practiced really hard yesterday, so my anticipation is they'll play really hard. Now we got to play well, and that's playing hard and playing well are two things, and two different things. And like I said, I watched the game from last time. We out-rebounded them by 10. We did some good things. We played pretty hard. We just didn't communicate defensively, gave them some easy looks, gave them some easy baskets that in a one-possession game against a good team, you just can't give up.
The last 2 games we've seen Brandon take and make more shots than he has all season. How important will it be to continue to get him more opportunities going down the stretch?
Well, he's got to look for them. It's two things, and he's got to do a better job getting some rebounds. We put pressure on all our guys. We got beat on the boards by Minnesota by 9, 11-0 second chance points. I mean, that just can't happen. It's closer than an 8-point game. It's a 2-point game with a minute to go. You can't let those two things happen, especially on the road. And so, again, he has done some really good things for us offensively. The only area of his game that I'm disappointed in is rebounding.
Coach Altman previewing this game against UCLA tonight, 7:30. That interview brought to you by the Willamette Valley Cancer Institute and Research Center. And I think Coach makes a great point in that game against Minnesota. Sure, it looks like an 8-point game. It was closer than that. Oregon's losses, 3 of the 4, they've been closer than that. Even the one against Illinois where Oregon dropped it by almost 30 points, it was closer than that the whole way through. Oregon was in the game with the 8-minute mark in the second half. These games have been close, none closer than the first time Oregon played UCLA the first time around, because that was a game where UCLA could not miss a shot, and they had to make a game winner after we thought Oregon did make a game winner of their own as time expired, banking in a shot at the three-point line. Even the Purdue game, that game was close the whole way through. It came down to the wire. Purdue scored a few points, made it a 7-point game late. But all of Oregon's losses have been closer than the final score has indicated, and 3 of the 4 have been games that one possession here or one possession there flip into wins for the Ducks. That's just the way things are going to go in the Big Ten Conference. It's that hard to win. It's that hard to win, especially on the road, and that's what's in front of Oregon tonight. Someone who knows what it's like to go through gritty conference play, Keyshawn Bartholomew. Joey Mack sat down with him earlier in the week. We'll get to that conversation when we return after this on Duck Inside on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Dear winter, Toyota can't get enough of you, because Toyota's got 25 vehicles with available all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive. And that's more than any other auto brand. So you bring the action and we'll bring the traction. Always Toyota. Toyota, let's go places. Based on manufacturer's websites as of 10/20/24.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Dear winter, Toyota can't get enough of you, because Toyota's got 25 vehicles with available all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive. And that's more than any other auto brand. So you bring the action and we'll bring the traction. Always Toyota. Toyota, let's go places. Based on manufacturer's websites as of 10/20/24.
Duck Insider, your home for the latest news on Oregon athletics on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. And now a speech.
I just want to say that friendship is about heart and brain. Who's with me?
Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
And my brain is saying, when it's time to go home, somebody call me a ride.
Love that guy.
Me too.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Substance use disorder and addiction is so isolating. And so, as a Black woman in recovery, hope must be loud. It grows louder when you ask for help and you're vulnerable. It is the thread that lets you know that no matter what happens, you will be okay.
When we learn the power of hope,
Recovery is possible. Find out how at startwithhope.com. Brought to you by the National Council for Mental Wellbeing, Shatterproof, and the Ad Council.
Back here on Duck Insider, brought to you by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Ryan Milano with you in the Country Financial Studio because Joey Mack is on the road. But earlier in the week, he was here with Keyshawn Barthélemy ahead of what is going to be a matchup against UCLA in which Oregon dropped the game to the Bruins the first time around. Granted, UCLA made 12 three-pointers in that game. They were 12 from 23 from deep. They shot 54% from three. On the season, they're a 34% three-point shooting team, including the game where they shot 50+% against Oregon. It seemed like an anomaly of a shooting effort for UCLA the first time around. And Oregon, they have some shooters of their own on their squad. Not to say the Ducks shot poorly in the first matchup. Oregon shot 45% from the field from three. Really, Oregon, they shot well. They shot 42% from three in that game. So the Ducks, they shot well in the game against UCLA, and in large part because of that, Keyshawn Barthélemy, who has been a knockdown three-point shooter all year long. In that game, he went 2 for 5 from deep. He has been a steady Eddie three-point shooter the entire year. Earlier in the week, he got to sit down, part of our Toyota interviews with Joey Mack in studio. Key, Joey Mack, talking it up, chatting about this game. Let's get to it.
We just pressed record, and I just asked Keyshawn Barthélemy. Keyshawn Barthélemy here in the Country Financial Studio. I just asked Keyshawn because it's been a while since he's been in the Country Financial Studio for one of our weekly interviews. He's already done his 2-minute life story, so do you want to do like a 30-second life update? What's the 30-second life update for Keyshawn Barthélemy?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me again. I mean, I think my first time being on the show was, 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So it's been a while, but 30-second life update is I'm still here at the University of Oregon. Right? Shocker.
Good update. Good update.
Shocker. I'm back for my 6th year, and it's been great. I mean, I've been playing well, dealt with adversity, but I'm back, and, I think we're playing well as of late. We dropped one against Minnesota, but we're still 16-4 and looking ahead to some great basketball.
All right, so talk about the adversity that you've been through. I want to get there, but also let's rewind for a second. Okay, if you could tell the Keyshawn Barthélemy who committed to Oregon once upon a time something, what would you tell that Keyshawn?
That's a great question. I'll tell him that don't ever feel sorry for yourself, whatever happens. It's going to be a rocky, up and down time here, not in how people treat me or anything like that, but just with personal experiences and injuries and things of that nature. But just stay, stay the course, man. It's and try to develop other things that you like, with outside of basketball and stuff like that.
And you've talked about it publicly a little bit, but I wanted to ask you, just the adversity that you did go through. Take fans through it. What was the process like for you?
Oh man, it was great, man. You probably didn't expect that adjective, great, but it was great for me because you develop instincts, you develop habits, you tweak habits a little bit. You adjust. And that's what I was able to do. And, everybody knows about the injury last year. That was really tough. And, just mentally, I got so much sharper. I was able to dive into some of the things that I liked outside of basketball, podcasting is really cool. I'm not saying you are cool, but podcasting is. But yeah, and just talking about basketball is something I really love, and I enjoy the sport, and it was good. It was great. It was great.
What would you tell someone who goes through an injury then? What's your advice? How did you get through it? How should they try to get through it?
Time flies. It may sound corny, but time does fly, and you can't count the days. You got to make the days count. You know what I mean? And like sometimes, you know, there's rough patches, but you just got to rely on your family, your close ones. You know, I have a great support system back home. You know, my mom was able to fly up here and take care of me for a couple of days, and the team did a really good job of making me feel like I was taken care of. And, you know, that's one of the reasons why I decided to come back for 6 years. The way they treated me, you know, I felt like family. And, you know, it's been great.
You and I have talked before, both off air and on the air, about the podcast. And
Yeah.
you want to do broadcasting when you're done. So you're going to go play and make a bunch of money.
Yeah,
and
hopefully.
Then, well, you are. Come on. Manifest, right?
Right. Yeah.
Manifest. And
Stay
then,
humble, though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. I'm in. Then you're going to become a broadcaster.
Yeah.
That's still the plan?
I mean, that's the plan. I mean, I want to play basketball as long as I can, and as long as it's fun for me and I'm thriving and, you know, enjoying the quality of teammates that I have and the quality of basketball that I have, and, you know, make some dough. Sorry for my slang, but you know, make some good money out of it. And, you know, that's the goal. And, you know, podcasting, broadcasting, whatever the case may be, but I'll be able to eventually, I think, talk about the sport and teach people about the sport, because I feel like I've gained a lot of knowledge just playing ball. You know, I want to give back to the kids back in Montreal. You know, that's where I'm from, and give them some good knowledge and, you know, just help them navigate the landscape of college athletics and, you know, the NIL and all that. You know, it's super different from when I first came into college. So just giving back to the community is also something that I'm looking forward to doing.
I mean, it sounds like a coach. Have you thought about going back into the coaching realm when you're done?
I don't think so. My patience wouldn't allow it. But or like that.
Now you really sound like a coach.
Yeah. And like, I don't know, coaching is really hard, man. It's tough. But no, I haven't thought about coaching like that.
So you'll be the one that does the film breakdown, but just you know, on a podcast or
something like that. You know, just talk with a few other players. Like, yo, like, do you want to get on and just, you know, shout out some of the young guys that's coming up, you know, from my city. You know, and just talk about how they can get better and, you know, just showcase them a little bit. You know, something like that. Who knows? There's so many other things that I could venture into and explore, and, you know, that it's a very wide area to work in, like podcasting and just like sports broadcasting, whatever the case may be. So I'm excited for that.
Keyshawn Bartholomew with us. You talked about how you got mentally sharper in this past off season. Was that how'd that come about? Like, did you decide like that's what I'm going to focus on? I mean, how'd you do that?
Well, first of all, when you fall, you got to figure out how to get back up. You know. Because you'll fall at some point. You know, the true test of a man is how you are when adversity hits, right? So adversity hit, and it's one of those things where my competitive spirit wouldn't allow myself to feel sorry for myself. You know what I mean? Like, it's one of those things, like, you just have that competitive juice or you don't, honestly. And I feel like I do, and I was able to reach out to, you know, my family. I asked them, like, you guys willing to help me with this, you know? And they were. And, you know, and I want to give a special shout out to Clay Jameson as well, who was really, like, he was pivotal, you know, to my success. And we did a lot of rehab and a lot of PT. I mean, as soon as I was able to, like, I was in there every day on time. You know, never was late. I always took it as seriously as I could. Even on day one where I was barely able to do anything, right? But I wanted to, like, set the tone for myself and, you know, and how I was going to be able to come back and be mentally sharper. So to even answer, like, your question a little bit and like, deeper, like, mentally, it was just, it's a mindset. You know, you just got to put your head down and do it, and time flies, and it did, honestly. Like, we're already in January, what is it, 28th? So yesterday was a year from when that happened. So it flies, you know.
Well, and, you know, Clay Jameson, better part of 2 decades as the athletic trainer. I mean, he's helped a lot of student athletes over the years. I'm glad that you said that. I mean, that's an unsung hero for fans, isn't it?
Not by me. I just sung his praise just now. Shout out Clay, man. It's a great guy.
It's a big deal.
Yeah.
It's a big deal. Now, for you, we've talked about the efficiency of your shooting a couple times on the post-game show when you've come on with us.
Yeah.
Just, hey, as a shooter, just how nice is that to have the percentages going, teammates are trusting you, just the flow that you're in over the course of the season?
It's great. It's great, but I won't sit here and act like I didn't put the work in for that to happen. You know, I put a lot of work in the off season, and I was able to have a longer off season. Honestly, like my off season started in like March, April, when I was able to like start moving around a bit. So I was just like, okay, what can I do to impact the team next year? What can I do to be able to help the team, in ways that like maybe we lack, or like some things that I excel in just personally, like shooting but I try to really expand my game onto other things like playmaking, and I try to like be disruptive, try to get steals, try to be in the mix, that's what basketball is for guys my size, right? Like 6'1", 6'2", whatever the case may be, just be disruptive, be in the mix. Like that's what I pride myself on.
Defensively, Coach Altman will always say defense and rebounding.
Yes.
That those are usually the first two things that he brings up in talking about like keys to success. But it does feel like, at times at least, this team's really bought into that. I mean, you're a veteran, you've seen it. What have you seen defensively from the squad?
I think what I've seen from the squad defensively is we've had good solid moments, but I don't think we've been able to put 40 minutes of elite defense together. I think one of our best defensive efforts was Purdue, and we were able to like slow them down a little bit, and they're pretty good, high octane offense, but just 40 minutes of like defense, I think we're still a little ways from that, but we're working in practice. We had a really good practice yesterday. We emphasized like talking, communicating, and really just like we're trying to put things together. And I think the rebounding part also is something that we got to work on. Those two things, if we can just anchor down a bit on those two things, I think we'll be able to make a deep run in March. And but we can't look too much ahead. We got UCLA coming up on the 30th, so I'm excited for that. And UCLA is also a good defensive-minded team, so we'll have to exceed that,
I always say, like, it's in these conversations like that I have with student athletes and with coaches, like it's one thing to say it, but then it's another thing to exercise it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you've been on teams that have exercised it. Like in your experience, what's been the key to teams figuring it out down the stretch, for lack of a better phrase?
Right. Like it's a buy-in from the players, right? Like I think player-led teams are always the best ones when you could hold yourself and your teammates accountable, and it kind of ties into communication, right? Like you can communicate to each other, and communication on defense itself is really important because it kind of like it sets a tone. People know where you are, people know where they gotta be, and just being vocal as a team, I think is gonna help us down the line. I've seen it like last year, like Jermaine and Dante were really like, they were talking a lot, and they were great like leaders for us, Maybe this year it'll be more of a collective effort just to have everybody, because we have a lot of seniors, right? Like we have a lot of guys that have been there, done that, different schools, so we can all bring something different, but I think the communication part is really important, and that's something that I've seen from those past teams that made them successful.
He's Keyshawn Bartholomew. Someday he's going to be sitting in this chair doing interviews, talking about basketball. Thanks for the time, buddy. I really appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me, man.
Glad you came back.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'm really glad Keyshawn Bartholomew ended it talking about the variety of different experiences that the experienced leadership of this team has gone through. You just look at every guy on the team, and they've got experience. Nate Biddle's been at Oregon for 4 years now. TJ Bamba comes over, and he's an experienced fifth year. Brandon Angel's a fifth year. He's experienced from a different place. Keyshawn Bartholomew is sixth year. There's on and on and on, player after player after player, even guys like Kwame Evans Jr. and Jackson Shellstad. Sophomores, but guys who got some really valuable postseason experience last year and played huge minutes on a team that made a pretty good run throughout the Pac-12 tournament and the NCAA tournament. There's no greater asset to have in athletics than the experience, in particular in collegiate athletics. It comes to fruition to be so fruitful time after time after time again. And I think that this men's basketball team is set up in another very similar position with a lot of leadership from a whole lot of different areas that can all lead as a collective. It's going to be really interesting to see this Oregon team continue to mold down the stretch, hitting the midway point in Big Ten play tonight against UCLA at 7:30. Got to get another timeout, and when we return, it's not just basketball season anymore, is it? Nope. Talking about it when we return. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, we're more than just an award-winning golf course and practice facility. Our events team offers all-inclusive event pricing that allows us to take care of all the details while you enjoy your event. Our indoor and outdoor venues offer you a wide variety of fully staffed options that put the focus on you. From weddings to business and social events, at Shadow Hills Country Club Events Center, you get the benefits of a resort atmosphere and amenities in a peaceful country setting, just minutes from downtown Eugene. Call for a tour today or visit shadowhillsevents.com.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
This is Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Put your phone on D&D. That means that do not disturb when you're driving. And when you're going from point A to B, I need you to stay safe, please, so always sing with me. So put your phone on D&D. That means that do not disturb when you're driving. And when you're going from point A to B, I need you to stay safe, please, so always remember this beat.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Babes, what are you doing?
What? I'm just mowing the lawn.
No, it's blazing hot and dry out here. Don't you remember? Smokey Bear says.
Avoid using power equipment when it's windy or dry.
Where'd you learn this?
Oh, it's on
SmokeyBear.com with many other wildfire prevention tips.
Right. Thanks, Honey Bear.
Because remember, only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Back inside the Country Financial Studio, it's Duck Insider, brought to you by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Ryan Milano here with you in studio now. That's not where I will be on February 14th, I can guarantee it, because baseball season is right around the corner. We are 15 days away from the start of baseball season at PK Park. I cannot wait to get out and experience what is going to be a great environment with a whole lot of home games at PK Park, starting against Toledo at 3 o'clock, going up against Oregon in the opener on Valentine's Day. What do you love more than baseball? I don't know. But what I do love is when Ryan Featherston and a lot of baseball players get to speak to the media. This was last week previewing the season. Ryan Featherston, who had a stellar freshman campaign, now coming back. How has he developed throughout the offseason, headed into his sophomore year? What's he looking forward to for this 2025 Oregon baseball campaign? Well, I don't know. Let's hear him talk about it.
Guy, you know, at your stage of his career, it's already like, hey, are you ready to be a leader on this team? You guys have so many guys back. How would you describe the culture and the different voices and the tone that's being said that way?
Right. You know, last year coming in as a freshman and looking up to those older guys to really show what it meant to be a leader and what the culture of this program was all about was really important for me. In my stage of the career coming in this year, you know, being able to kind of carry that culture on and just continue to push a player-led program has been really important. Making sure that all these guys know that, I mean, they're here to lead too. We're all here to hold each other accountable, and you know, just keeping that intact.
Can you say like what the biggest difference is for you just at this stage a year ago, just how different your comfort level is, just having the knowledge of having gone through a season, just how has that impacted your preparation?
Yeah, I mean, trying to figure out just how life worked here and being a college athlete last year was definitely difficult. Walking on eggshells a little bit coming in as a freshman. I'm sure everybody's a little nervous when they first get to campus, but since I've been through it now, a lot more comfortable. I know what it takes, and just gonna continue to prepare every day.
I feel like you kind of stepped into more of a leader. I know you're just a sophomore, but I still kind of jumped into more of a leader role as a guy who was routinely used last year out of the pen.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that with the experience that I had last year, I have a lot of knowledge that I can share with some of the new guys and the younger guys, and continue to help them grow, especially when they're trying to figure out how their life works here, and on and off the field be able to be a resource for them.
Where have you been repping so far? Have they tried to convert you into a starter yet, or are you still back in the bullpen?
Yeah, I mean, there's been talks about being a starter. There's been talks about staying in the bullpen. Whatever role they decided to put me in this year, I'll be okay with. Just whatever I can do to help the team win is honestly what's on my mind.
Do you feel like the staff has improved over from the end of last year to now? Where do you feel like they've improved the most on?
Yeah, I'd say all the returning guys have worked really hard to get better and improve on some of the stuff and all the things that they worked on in the fall. And with the transfer guys that we brought in, like Wrights, Seth Maddox, Santiago Garcia, Sam Boyle, and some incoming freshmen, and Will Sanford, Michael Mechna, Kellen Knox, all those guys, I think that we've added some pretty important pieces into that staff that are going to help us win some games this year.
This is year 2 with Hawk as well. Just what's your relationship like with him, and then what's his, his overall, ideology for the team? How has that kind of impacted you guys?
And I mean, he's an open book. You can always go talk to him about anything. He's a guy that if you have any concerns or questions or even just some help on anything, he's going to be open to that. Go up into his office and, talk things through if you need it. I mean, he's always looking for feedback as well. Like if we've got stuff for him that we think that is going to make the program better, he's always open to that. And so it makes for a really easy relationship, and it makes the overall culture between not only the players but the coaching staff as well much easier.
You listed a lot of guys, incoming guys. Just what's the competition level been like between the entire staff, from starters to relievers? Yeah,
I mean, there's a lot of competition, and guys are really starting to try to earn spots right now, and it's honestly fun to watch around the field. And I think this is probably the most exciting time because we're getting prepared for that first series, and with guys out there earning spots, we're starting to see a little different level than we saw in the fall, and it's really exciting.
What's it been like to have Bradley Mullen on staff and just kind of see him once again for a whole nother year? What's it like to have him as like a veteran guy who's now just around?
Yeah, knowing him as a player last year and then getting him back, and that relationship's really tight between me and him, and he's leading the staff well in his role and being able to help out a lot of the younger guys with his experience. And coming off his last season last year, he's got a lot to offer to all of us, and we're all asking him questions and for help and things like that. So he's been a really key piece to this whole thing.
Ryan Featherston, I'll see him at PK Park on February 14th at 3 o'clock against the Toledo Rockets. I think he's right. I've been out at baseball practice, and it's a palpable time of year because every single one of those guys is so sick of hitting off each other in a machine. They've been playing well off each other. What's going to happen when the opponents come to town? I think there might be some rockets off of Oregon's bats. That's what I'm predicting at PK Park coming up this year. I'm excited for it. It's going to be great. I'm also excited for tonight. Basketball, doubleheader. But it's not the only thing where you can find some Ducks in action. We're going to talk about what else is going on tonight and tomorrow when we return. After this on Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Hey Duck fans, at Country Financial, they make insurance easy. Whether you're shopping for home, auto, or more, their representatives will take the time to understand your specific needs and explain what options work best for you. Worry less and feel more confident knowing you're covered. Visit countryfinancial.com to get started today. Experience more with Country Financial. Auto and home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Preferred Insurance Company, and Country Casualty Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by your local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Your daily dose of Oregon athletics. This is Duck Insider from Learfield.
Ma, is this how you feed a hamster?
I think so.
Is my homework right?
I think so.
Is, this milk still good?
I think so.
When it comes to parenting, sometimes it's okay to think you know. But when it's something as important as your child's car seat, don't just think. Know. Double check if your child is in the right seat for their age and size. It'll help protect them in a car crash. Don't just think. Know by visiting nhtsa.gov/the right seat. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. Perfectly imperfect. Beating in rhythm to the world you've created. But every time you drive after drinking, the music gets drowned out. Your life sounds pretty great. Don't let a buzz ruin it. Buzz driving is drunk driving. Don't drive buzzed. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Back inside the Country Financial Studio, it's Duck Insider, brought to you by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Ryan Milano here with you as we have a packed day for Oregon athletics coming up. Right after this, 2:30, Chris Clayton will take the air. Oregon women's basketball pregame against Michigan State. They will tip at 3 o'clock from East Lansing and the Breslin Center. Then after that, at 7 o'clock, Joey Mack will take air for the pregame of UCLA against Oregon. 7:30 tip-off for that. The women's game will be on Big Ten Network. The men's game will be on Fox Sports 1. But if you want to see some former Ducks that are going to be in action as they try to become pro Ducks, well, we talked yesterday about the Senior Bowl that's going on throughout the course of this week and the actual game that's happening over the weekend. But the Shrine Bowl featuring Trayshawn Holden and Jabbar Muhammad will be tonight at 5 o'clock on NFL Network. It might squeeze right in between the women's game and the men's game. That might be perfect. Also, track and field in action there at the Razorback Invitational all day tomorrow and all day Saturday. Joey Mack will be back here from Southern California, and he'll break it all down for you. Go Ducks!
Hey, so what's a great way to spread awareness that driving high is illegal everywhere? A catchy song, of course. You can run, but you can't drive high. You can run, but you can't drive high. Friendly reminder, don't drive high. If you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Are you prepared for an emergency or disaster? Because it's not a matter of if, but when. Don't find yourself saying,
when the storm rolls in, my time to find a pet-friendly evacuation center will have run out.
The